Well, here we are live with the wonderful Dr. Lucy Burns from Real Life Medicine. Thanks for joining us tonight, Lucy. It's great to see you.
Oh, thank you, gorgeous girl, for having me on. It is awesome. I'm pumped.
I'm so awesome. It's so awesome to see you. So just to give everyone a little bit of information. So Lucy, I've known you for a few years now, and you are actually the inspiration behind these summits. Of course, this one's the third one that we've done. And just to share and tell everyone, we were talking on my podcast and having just a good chat about women's health and stuff like that. And, you know, the idea, I think you said something about, wouldn't it be nice to do something like this? And I was like, yeah. And one thing led to another, and this is the third one. So thank you for the inspiration behind putting this together, because I think it's such a great thing to be giving people.
Well, Trace, I might be the inspiration, but you're the implementation of it. And that, you know, inspiration's all one thing, but if it's not implemented, then it's just a pipe dream. So thank you for implementing.
Oh, well, that's true. And you're welcome. And look at you in your scrubs, you know, at work, just looking the part tonight. So I want to, I know you don't have a huge amount of time, but I wanted to ask you, you know, from your perspective, why are these events that are focused on women's health so important?
Well, I think in our medical training, we had a little phrase that was children are not small adults. They have different physiology and different, you know, psychology. They're completely different. And women are not small men. Women are completely different. We have different biology. We have different physiology. We have different life experiences. And our health needs are different. And it doesn't mean there's not overlap. There's definitely overlap. But there are things that are very specific to women, and there are things that are very specific to men. And I think men should have a men's health summit. But I think that women, you know, we have different roles in our society, and different ways our brain works differently. And so it is really important that a women's health summit is also led by women, because I think, you know, from my look, I have a kind of a red rag to a bull when I see, particularly around weight loss, when I see thin middle-aged men who have never had a problem with their weight telling women what to do. It's like, oh. But women come at it from a different angle. And so I think it's really important. And I also think, just while I'm on the bandwagon, that, you know, our age women, so women in their 50s, have grown up with, you know, images of what it looks, what the perfect woman looks like. And as do younger women now, and now younger men. But the pressures on our age men didn't exist. There wasn't the Dolly magazine equivalent for men when I was growing up. There wasn't, you know, all of those things now. I mean, I understand they're now coming out, and I don't think they're a good thing to be glorifying, you know, these perfect bodies. But our generation, we're traumatized by it, and we need to undo that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think, you know, what you bring to the space is phenomenal in terms of not just health, in terms of diet. It's that whole picture, and exactly unlearning a lot of that, and, you know, overcoming a lot of the shame and all the stuff that hasn't been our fault, you know, over time. And, you know, we think of diet, it's like, it's just another thing we've got to do on top of all the other things that, you know, we have on our plate. But, you know, I think when we can really get the help and the insight from people like you to really make it more manageable, it isn't as hard as we think it is. And, you know, ultimately it gives us this energy and vibrance to just fly through our days.
100%, Trace. And I think this is another narrative that we need to be flipping. You know, people go, oh, weight loss is so hard. It's so hard to lose weight. You know, and when we think it's going to be hard, our brain, that very clever brain that we have, it has systems to confirm our internal belief structure. So it looks for it in confirmation, that confirmational bias, that, yeah, it is hard. It is hard because my friend keeps bringing pizza to work, or it is hard because I sit next to my husband every night who eats ice cream. But if you flip that narrative and go, all right, I want to make this easy. What can I do to live a life of ease? And I look for things that make eating this way, living this way, make it easy. Doesn't have to be hard.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So just a little bit, Lucy, on what actually got you into the low carb space. I know, we've talked and there's lots of podcasts out there, but, when you're a podcaster too, sometimes, we don't get to hear what your snippet is.
So, I think, look, it's really interesting. I entered it and it's part of my normal diet mindset of another diet. I was going to lose weight doing this. It was, that's what I'd always done before. I'd always lost weight doing diets. So all the other diets that I was doing weren't working anymore. So how about I give this one a crack? And it was I think the most phenomenal thing that happened for me was not the weight loss, which is, is a side issue now. It was the change in the space that it gave my brain, the ability for it to stop chatting, stop constantly asking for food, waiting till the end. Because for once in my life, I wasn't calorie deprived. I was eating the nutrients that my body needed and basically not freaking starving myself to death. So, that having space, as you know, when you have space, amazing things happen. So just that space then gave me the ability to reflect on, well, what's going on here? Because I now am not interested. I mean, I know people want to lose weight and that's fine. But for me, it is the peace that I have in my mind from not having that constant brain chatter about, oh, what are we going to have now? And I think I did some funny little reel that you've probably seen, and it's this little Mexican voice goes, what are we doing now? Now I think that was mine. Which little snack are we having? How much chocolate can we have? How many bags of Maltesers? So having peace.
I couldn't agree more too, and I 100% resonate with everything you said there. I mean, the what am I going to eat from, just finishing a meal to already going on to what the next meal is and thinking about all the rules and all that. It is incredible when you're actually in that to imagine that it could look different. And, all I kind of say is you just get curious about that possibility, because it is something you do need to experience, but I promise you it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is I think the gift that I have given myself is food freedom. Food is no longer the main show. It's a side gig. I still like food. I still get to enjoy food. I can still eat. It's not like I can't eat anymore, but it's no longer, I don't think about, I'm going over to Tracy's tonight. I wonder if she'll have pavlova. Like, oh, that'll be good. It was all just about the sweets, not anything about the actual real food.
Yeah. Which is, of course, so easy to happen given the world that we live in, and everything's kind of revolved around sugar and celebrations. But, again, it's just so possible to see everything so differently around that, and the food freedom. Love it. And I think if we asked, people that were in the low carb space to sum it up in one word, I honestly think that would be the most common word people would say.
Yeah. Yes. Free of diets, free of yo-yoing, free of that up and down, perfect benders, not benders. The number. I mean, people used to ask me all the time, "Are you on a diet this week, Lucy?" And if I was, then they wouldn't offer me the cake, and if I was, I'd be eating 3 or 4 cakes. Because whereas now, I don't eat cake, and no one asks me anymore, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, love it. Well, your summer talk is a very I'm getting a bit of kickback. I hope others aren't hearing it. If the sound's an issue, please let me know. I don't think I can do anything about it, but hopefully it's going through everybody. But your talk on menopause, what an talked about subject for a start, but particularly in the low carb space as well. But the potential when we understand how diet can impact menopause is huge. So, you were able to share a little bit that without giving away too much, because we want everyone to register.
I think, again, it's the people that you attract. I realized, I think I just attract clones of myself. So every problem I've struggled with, those people come to me. So I'm a menopausal woman. I'm 54, so I've just been through menopause, and I see buckets of menopause. And I thought, So it is well known that people put on weight over menopause, but more importantly, it's about their metabolic health around that stage. And I think there's chicken and egg. So there's menopause affects your metabolic health, but also your metabolic health affects your menopausal symptoms. And so you can do something about both of those. Hooray. And I always love it when you can do one thing and that improves both things. And it's fantastic. So, you know, there's no doubt that there's lots of things these days. I mean, for a start, I think, and it's interesting in the medical world. So, you know, when I was a junior doctor, HRT had come in and it was like going to be the best thing. And then, bang, breast cancer, and it went out. And I was like, oh, now we're not talking about HRT. And in fact, we're not even going to talk about menopause because we can't do anything about it. So let's just shut that conversation down. And you women just go off and sort yourselves out. And it's just bullshit, really. So now it's like, yeah, actually, you know what? This is, for some people, menopause is a really difficult transition, and that needs to be acknowledged and supported. And for other people, they're lucky enough to cruise through with minimal symptoms. And it's like, right, well, why? What's going on? So, I'm super excited to be talking about, you know, I guess weight management around menopause, but also feeling good. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I talk a lot about weight management, but really, it's like my ticket in to actually talk to you about how you feel. Because everyone wants to lose weight because they think they're going to feel better. But you can just actually feel better, and then the weight loss will sort itself out, and it's so good, so good.
I love it. And the thing with menopause too is it's not just like a few weeks. For some women, this can be a decade or even longer.
Yes, and I mean the phrase has been coined of perimenopause, but really it's the transition. It's the transition from just regular cycling to cycling slowing down, and for some people that happens quite quickly, and for other people it putters along for years. And the up and down of your estrogen is what gives you these night sweats and all sorts of, you know, really symptoms that I myself used to think, oh, you know, big deal. What's a bit of a night sweat? Who cares? And until you've gone through it, oh, Jesus Christ, what about all these night sweats and bloody sweat? You know, it was just ridiculous. And I'm thinking, oh, God. So, yeah, I think that, like everything, once you've experienced it, you can then go, okay, I now empathize because I know what you're talking about.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'm going to have to let you go because I know you're off to do more important work, but thank you so much for your time today, and obviously for your insight and wisdom and putting, you know, just sharing what you're going to share in the summit. It's just such an honor to be connected with you and know you in the space. And yeah, thanks, Lucy, for everything you do.
You too. You know, as you know, the ultimate generous spirit. So yes, it's good. It's good.
Oh,
and you know,
I love it.
I think that, you know, women supporting women supporting women to support other women, like seriously, you know, the sisterhood.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best.
It is.
Thanks, Lucy.
You're all right, darling.
Bye, everyone.